I spent Christmas Eve sleeping in the back seat of a Honda Civic because my dad thought I stole his Rolex. 4 years later, my grandfather called a family meeting that destroyed my parents, and I finally got to watch them burn. It happened during my sophomore year of college. I was home for the holidays, sitting at the kitchen table, when my dad walked in holding an empty watch box. It wasn't just any watch. It was this white gold GMT Master with a custom engraving. He looked at me, his voice deadly calm, and asked, "Where is it?" I was confused. I told him I didn't know. That's when my mom chimed in. She said she saw me snooping in his office the day before. I wasn't snooping. I was using the printer because mine was broken. But then my sister, Rachel, dropped the match that burned my life down. She looked up from her phone and said, "Well, he has been talking about needing cash for a business idea. Maybe he pawned it." That was all it took. My dad didn't ask for proof. He didn't check the house. He looked at me with pure disgust and said, "Pack your things. You're not staying under my roof." I begged them to believe me. I cried, but my dad just opened his wallet, threw a single $100 bill at my chest, and told me that was the last thing I'd ever get from him. I left that night into a snowstorm. For the next 6 months, I was homeless. I showered at gyms and slept in my car until my aunt finally tracked me down and took me in. I dropped out of college and started flipping cars to survive. I worked 80-hour days. I built a real business from nothing. I never spoke to my parents, and they never called. Then, last week, I got a call from my grandfather. He's the patriarch of the family, the one person my dad is actually terrified of. He said, "Be at the house on Sunday. Do not be late." I showed up. My parents were there, looking uncomfortable. Rachel was there, looking annoyed that she had to pause her perfect life. When I walked in, my dad actually rolled his eyes. He opened his mouth to say something, but my grandfather slammed his hand on the table. "Sit down," my grandfather barked. He pulled a small velvet pouch out of his pocket. He slid it across the table. My dad opened it, and his face went ghost white. It was the Rolex. He found it. My dad whispered, I thought he sold it." He pointed at me. "He didn't take it," my grandfather said, his voice like ice. "I found this at a pawn shop 3 towns over. I bought it back, and I had a very interesting conversation with the owner." My grandfather pulled out a piece of paper, a pawn slip. It was pawned on December 23rd, 4 years ago, by a woman. The room went dead silent. We all turned to look at Rachel. She wasn't on her phone anymore. She was trembling. Rachel needed money for a spring break trip to Sabio. My grandfather continued. "She stole it. She pawned it. And she watched you throw your own son onto the street to cover her tracks." My dad looked at Rachel, then he looked at me. The horror on his face was satisfying. I won't lie. He started to stand up, reaching a hand out to me. "Son, I didn't know. We have to make this right." I didn't take his hand. I stood up, looked him in the eye, and said, "You didn't lose a watch that night. You lost a son. You just didn't realize it until now." I walked out of the house, got into the car I bought with my own money, and drove away. My aunt tells me they're still trying to call, but I blocked their numbers. Some mistakes you don't get to fix.